It's my favorite day of the week, which just got 1000% better because I have Nikki McKnight on my show. I'm so psyched, Nikki. I have known you now, how long?
I
4
want to say
years?
I was gonna say 4 or 5 years. Yeah.
I think 4 years. And Nikki is my favorite person for 1,000 reasons. But that's not necessarily relevant to you guys. So let me tell you who she is and why she's here because I know you're going to get a ton of information from her because she cannot be on a call without dropping the gold. So she is basically your back end business coach. She clarifies what needs fixing. She creates step-by-step plans so you don't have to figure it out. God knows I could use that. And then she coaches you on how to do it. So she takes you from bottlenecked to streamlined, which is so important in our businesses because we all know how easy it is to get tripped up in the tech, in the steps, in the execution of these brilliant business plans that we have. Nikki, so first of all, welcome. Where are you? And say hi to everybody.
Hello, everyone. I feel like I need like a radio voice. Hello,
Yes.
everyone. It's currently 2 o'clock Eastern in the afternoon. It's beautifully and shiny. Hi, I'm Nikki. My pronouns are she, her, and I am coming to you live from my home office / studio here in beautiful Niagara on the Lake, Canada.
Yes. Which is a vineyard area, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, I like to call it Napa of the North.
Love
When you
it.
come from a big wine drinking family like myself, my brother is also in the viticulture program. He's going to be a winemaker, and then I live right next to a vineyard. So
Oh, that's
it's pretty
beautiful.
nice.
And being to the right, because behind you is my favorite thing about you, the puppy dog.
My dog, who is named after wine, her name is Riesling.
I love it. Mine is not. This is
Puppy.
Diego, but
Oh,
one of the
Diego.
big things that Nikki and I connected about, I told you there were tons of things I love about her, but is our curly doodle dogs.
Stocks.
And we love them dearly. And you can't watch a Facebook Live without me talking about dogs.
True.
So I have so many questions for you. But first of all, what is a business back end? It's not a bad word, right?
I get that joke a lot. I laugh at it. I think it's funny. But really, what it comes down to is your business, whether it's online, whether it's brick and mortar, whatever it is, you're always going to kind of have a front end and a back end to your business. Now, the front end is what most people are familiar with. It's your sales, it's your marketing, it's your social media content. It's essentially how are you showing up so that the public can see you. It's everything, I like to call it everything that's client facing or people facing. So if you're scrolling around and you see like a video, like Pam, right now, we are in the front end because your clients are seeing this. Now, the back end aspect of that is everything that it takes to get that to become possible. So using this as an example, the back end of your business is scheduling, getting us on the same time, and it's setting up your StreamYard, it's looking at your tech platforms. So it's essentially your systems, your people, your process, your team, leadership. It's everything that your clients or your audience might not see, but is integral to the actual running of your business. It's the day-to-day, it's the making decisions, it's the strategy, it's the nuts and bolts, it's the getting shit done happens in your back end.
I love that. So I'm going to tell a story or a quick story about somebody about back end and front end. And you tell me if I've got this right. So I have Wen on my team who has until this week been running, like making sure that the scheduling's done for the Facebook Lives, for the campfires, making sure my posts go out when they should, making sure I remember when to post, all of those things. And then just this week, we introduced them as an active online face of the business. So what I'm kind of hearing is up until now, she's been working on the back end, and now she's both back end and front end.
Yeah.
It might be what you call front end because I can't shut my app and I'm always on Facebook.
Yeah, I think most of the time, I'll say business owners and CEOs, they tend to rock the front end because it's showing up. It's being you. It's sharing your genius, sharing your ideas. A lot of times it's sharing your face or your voice. If it's a podcast or it's audio, you are like the front end visibility. And that's where so many business owners, especially online business owners, are comfortable. Because if you think about it, interacting with clients and like most business owners, they're the number one deliverer of the content. They're the coach. They're the person doing the thing. They're the picture on the social media saying, hi, it's Nikki,
Yep.
it's
You need to know
Pam,
this.
it's
Yep.
work with me. So you're very, very front end visible. And that's where a lot of business owners have like kind of their natural skill set. Not so much in the back end, because that's when they have to show up as a leader. That's when they have to know how to make strategic decisions. It's using the tech that their team likes to use and all of like that kind of nuts and bolts stuff.
Oh my
so
God.
There's a lot of people straddle both lines, but I would say, business owners, they're the front end people, right? They're the center stage. They like talking. They like attention. They like just chatting. Ask them to come up with a strategic plan or go through a launch checklist. And they're kind of like, I'm going to hire somebody to do that.
Oh my God. So there is, to use an overused term, so much to unpack there. Like we have a group full here of folks, a lot of whom started out as freelancers or coaches, one-on-one coaches. And we migrate through our businesses, and there comes a point in time where, we want to stop trading the time for money. And that's a good thing. We still want to do some of it, but we don't want to do all of it, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. We've all kind of been there. We want to scale, but we still want to have the personal touch. Yeah. Boom. And so recently I've added a lot of people to my team, and I've turned over a lot of stuff to them. And something you said is so important for us as, entrepreneurs migrating to business people is you need to learn to use the tech that your team likes. So one of the key things for us that I think we forget is, first of all, if we feel ourselves going down rabbit holes, like, so for me, it was, okay, I need to get a lead page up. And I realized I didn't know how to create the copy. Then once I created the copy, I didn't know how to connect it to my email. And then I didn't know how to make sure that it tied to Facebook. And so to create one lead page, I went down 20 rabbit holes. Yeah. So if that's happening to you, Nikki, like if that's happening to somebody who's watching, whether it's live or on replay, is that when you should go, aha, it's time for me to get some back end help?
For sure. Because what I like to say, because a lot of people ask me, not only what is a back end coach, or, I'm an operational magician, or like, what is operations? Or I also get like I think I need you, but I don't really understand what you do.
Yes.
And that's totally cool. It's really hard. It can be difficult to articulate that which you don't know. Same thing. You're like, I think I need a funnel, but I don't know the questions to ask, or even like what a funnel is, but I think I need one. Totally cool.
Everybody else has one, so I must need one.
Exactly. So the simplest way I can put it is when you think of like operations, or you think of your team, or you're even thinking about bringing on support. Maybe it's a VA, maybe it's an OBM, maybe it's somebody to build you a lead page sequence, whatever. I think as long as you as the business owner, you as the entrepreneur, the CEO, like the person who's holding the container of the vision and is the one who is like, we are going to do a thing that's going to make people happy, that's going to give them things. You need to know the what and the why. People like me bring you the how.
Oh my God.
And that's really the simplest way I can put it.
That is so, because here's another thing. So I'm a both faith-based and an Abraham Hicks listener. So I'm like the ultimate, mind clash, although I think they're both the same thing with different terms, right? And one of the things they say is, as a visionary, as somebody, visualizing your future, you need to know the what. Don't worry about the how. And one of the things you're saying is, this is the how. This is the people that get you from, imagination and I thought of it to an executed, manifested thing. And I just love that.
Yeah, because I think one of the things I say to my clients a lot is this idea that, ideas without pointed action are pointless.
Oh, I love that.
One of the reasons I love working with like creative, visionary, spiritual entrepreneurs, they're who I've worked with for the past like 5-6 years. And the reason I went back and started my own business last year and left my full-time job to do this was, I'm like, these are the people who are actually going to change the world with what they're doing. Like, they're the ones that are going to do it. It's not going to be big corporations. It's not going to be like, it has to happen in communities. It has to happen in little microcosms and various like cultural diasporas in order to actually affect change. And if these people are the ones who are going to change the world, and the one thing that is stopping them from doing that is knowing how to do something,
we'll cover the how.
let me give you the how, or let me do it for you, or show you how you can hire someone to do it. Because only then that's how change happens. And that's how change happens quickly.
Yeah, and it's so true because, like, Nick, I can't tell you how much time I lost going down rabbit holes. So you've known me for a long time here. So just as a quick introduction to how I know Nikki is, she worked behind the scenes on some major events that I was lucky enough to attend, and it was just like perfect. Like she was there, and you knew she was there, but the stuff it's like the duck on water. Like, so when you saw Nikki, it was this very calm little head going, hi, you need to be here at this time. Great to see you. Underneath, you knew that the legs were.
It was not calm underneath.
And she was talking to
I was heavily caffeinated. I was not sleeping. I had like phones on holsters like dads back in the late 90s. I was like, let's go.
You looked like a 6-shooter. You looked like a 6-shooter. But, she took care of everybody in this. And as a CEO, that's what you want, right? You want to know that the back end is working, and you want the interaction with you to be, oh yeah, we've got it handled. But you want to know that when that door closes and you're out of the room, it's like, do this, do that. We got to do this. We got to connect. This is how you connect the dots. Somebody's like, I don't know if you were a Lily Tomlin fan, but when Lily Tomlin used to work the switchboard, it's somebody who knows how to do it. Because I would spend all day I can't tell you how much time I wasted going, let me try it in this hole. Nobody there.
No.
Let me try it in this hole. I was like, such a waste of time. And it's so interesting too. And this is a subtlety I want to have with you, because you are both the front end for your business and teaching people how to do the back ends for their businesses. So I'm a CFO. So with all of my clients, with all of my coaching clients, I'm a support to them. I'm a back office thing for them. But yet for my business, I'm the front office, which you are too. And I think this is something that a lot of entrepreneurs forget, is you can't be the back office and run a business.
There's definitely going to come a time when you can't be everything to everyone, to put it that way. Like if you're going to be delivering content, if you're going to be showing up, if you're going to be doing Facebook Lives, if you're going to be developing products or new programs, then it stands to reason that you can't always be the one who's like scheduling the email and active campaign. You can't be building the lead page. There's likely a time where you're going to have to do that. Like, I don't want to glamorize or valorize the entrepreneurial hustle journey, because you can totally bypass that. There's a certain amount of privilege, and access to capital to kind of skip a few steps. In terms of team. But, at some point, I don't want to say it's giving up control, because that kind of has this weird connotation to it that I don't love. But your role switches instead to being, and I mentioned it earlier. Hello, Riesling, she's coming to join. Like, you are the curator of the container. You are the one that has created the parameters for decision making. And like our mutual friend Alex Sharfin likes to say, you need to become a passenger in your business. When we talk about road trips and things, there's the driver, and then you have like the passenger, the navigator. They're saying we're going here. They choose like the fun tunes because they want to create the culture within the vehicle. They had a say in what snacks were brought, but they're ultimately not the one driving the vehicle. And that's kind of a transition. I think that if you want to grow your business to a point where you can't do everything, then that's kind of something that you should embrace. Yeah. Because it's fun when you can get to that point. It is stressful AF dealing with like the psychological change that comes with that, or learning how to do it. Absolutely. That's why so many sales and marketing coaches have businesses, because they're like, how do I do the thing?
How do I do it?
They don't teach you this in school. We're all just kind of making this up as we go along. But I think it is a reality that if you do want to grow your business to a point where you want to do that, and like, again, you don't have to have $1 million business if you don't want to. You don't even have to have $100,000 business if you don't want to. But if that is something you want, it is extremely likely that you will have to go through that journey at some point.
So much in there. Again, this is why I love talking to you. So first of all, there is nothing that says you have to scale to a business that's not a lifestyle or one-on-one business. There are plenty of people, and I have a number of these clients who are like, no, I really like this just like it is, because I'm not overworked, but I have exactly enough work to keep me interested. I have exactly enough time with my family, and I have exactly enough money. If you're blessed enough to be at that point why in God's name would you go, oh, let me scale. Let me make a shit ton more money that I spend on a shit ton more stuff and have less for me. I get less sleep and I have to all of a sudden stop being a genius at what I do and start being a genius at leading a team. And those are two really, so I will never diss somebody who says, I'm happy with my business right where it is.
Yeah.
We're really talking about the folks who say, no, that it's different for me. I want to do something that's bigger for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And it's not that it's better, it's just bigger.
It's just different.
So I'm really curious. So what do you do? If I call Nikki and say, hey, put me on a strategy call, and just for the record, I'll drop a little banner here because there is a link to get this woman on a strategy call, folks.
It's fancy.
And if I call you and I say, okay, I'm ready to grow my business, are you coaching me on how to be a leader in this business? Or are you helping me find the people that I need? Or do I hire you to become that back end with your team? How does it all work?
All of those things. It really depends on the engagement, right? Because I think ultimately, like let me get a fancy piece of paper. We're going to like draw some stuff right here.
Whoa, okay. Pictures.
No, I'm sorry. I'm not as cool as like Simon Bowen, who has like his iPad always ready. Mine's in the basement. I normally draw, but it's in the basement. I can't find it.
Mine's upstairs. Okay. Same thing.
We are failing today. So like if we think about, say, a learning curve, and this can be anything, it's usually like, starts off slow because you're just trying to figure out what the language is, what I need to know, like what questions do I need to ask? And then at some point you have like exponential growth, right? So if we think about running a business, again, they don't teach us this in school. We got to go through this. We got to bootstrap. And if we zoomed in on this, I bet it would be like up, down, up, down, up, down,
yes,
up, down,
exactly.
up, down. Great things.
Sometimes crashing through the bottom.
Exactly. So what I try to do with the way that I work is this. Of course, my pen stops working at my dramatic effect, is this. I know all this. You and I are going to start here.
Gotcha.
Because I am going to I'm going to learn everything I can about you. And that's usually what I do in the free strategy sessions that are scrolling across the bottom of it now is, I have an assessment tool that that for me is the foundation that your business needs to sit on. Whether you're a $100,000 a year business or you're a $10 million a year business, there is a similar foundation. Just the depth of those things changes a little bit. But we essentially go through that and say, look, like you're doing amazing here. This needs some work. This needs optimization to get you to where you want to go. And we essentially do that. And then from there, I can say, you know what? Fantastic. Like I was on a call with a mutual friend of ours yesterday who was like, I think I want to grow my coaching practice. But I don't know what to do every day. I'm just doing emails every day. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, do you have, this thing? Do you have this? Is this something you have a really deep understanding of or that you're really connected to? And it was like, not really. So for her, I was like, fantastic. We're going to go through a process where you talk, I ask a bunch of questions. I'm going to distill that information and give back to you a week by week plan for the next 12 months that is going to get you there. Wow. And I'm going to help you build some of those foundational systems, things. I'm going to tell you who you need to hire next. And here's their full hiring package and their onboarding plan. So like, that's someone who really needs we are starting almost from scratch with their foundation for where we want to go. So I'll be like, fantastic. We're going to work together. It's done for you. It's done with you. Cool. Here you go. Be free. Because I want to give you something that you can action pretty much immediately. But then some people are like, you know what? I really just want to launch a new offer. And I know what I want the end of it look like, but I literally don't know the steps I need lead pages. There's an email, like payment processor. What's the confirmation email? So I'm like, fantastic. Let's work on your launch plan. Same deal. We'll develop your program. We'll create your client care plan that's easily repeatable and you always know how to do it. And fantastic. Here's your launch plan, daily activities for the next 60 days for you or your team.
Love it. To get it off the ground.
Exactly. Because my whole thing is, I want to move people out of ideation and creation and into implementation, integration, and optimization as fast as humanly possible. I don't want you to take another 12-week program or buy another course or buy a template pack. Those are great. I buy a lot of them. I've taken a lot of them. I have a lot of template packs in my Canva. But if you don't have a foundation where you know exactly where you're going to use those things, where you're going to plug them in, or why you're even getting them, what is the point? You're going to look back 6 months from now and I go, I bought that course on email marketing. I thought it was going to bring me money and I haven't finished it. I haven't done anything with it. What a waste of money. What a waste of my time and energy.
one of them renews a year later and you go, oh, I didn't even know I had that.
Yep.
So this is me guilty of everything you just nailed. Boom, 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 boom. And the funny thing is, and I would say the same thing here, is I find the same thing with finances, right? There's this foundation. It's the same for everybody, whether you're 8 figures or 5 figures. And the basic foundation is the same. It's just how deep it needs to go, right? So one of the things I tell people, like I sit here, you're talking, and I'm like, and this gives me real empathy with my own potential clients and people I talk to, is I'm sitting here going, my God, I'm so ashamed I've done all those things that she just mentioned. But you said something so important. Nobody teaches us this. And nobody teaches us finance. Nobody teaches us the back end stuff. And we have 7,000 different things screaming at us. You need this, you need that, you need this, with no concept of how to integrate it all. And it feels so overwhelming. So, my concept of everything you do is the same as most people's concept of everything we do with their finances. Is
very similar.
I don't even know what questions I don't know to ask.
Yep.
And that's what I really love about what you're doing. And the thing that's so special about how you do it to me is that I know you've done it. Like you've done it, and you've done it for big ass organizations, not just, and you can adapt it to work for the solopreneur. So it doesn't feel like Nikki's dropping a bureaucracy on you.
No.
Like she's anti-bureaucracy, if they're ever.
None of that. None of that. Yeah. And like this really, one of the reasons I've worked in operations and logistics for the last 12 years. Like that's been pretty much my entire career, except for, there's a little point. I was a personal trainer, which, in itself is kind of operations and logistics. You're helping people get to a place. So we'll call it the same. But I remember the first team or the first company, I really had a huge say in the strategy. I was like 24 years old. We were like a $18 million a year company. And I was running the operations and logistics. And I was like, I've never done this before. Holy crap. So I had to make a lot of mistakes. I worked really long hours, but ultimately I was able to start predicting what would happen. I would have like 12 things in my back pocket that, I was importing, exporting from produce from South Africa, South America, and Europe. It's very perishable. So you have to make really quick decisions. So what that really taught me was, how do I make really quick decisions that will support our ultimate goals?
Yep.
Because I don't have time to waste. Like an hour can lose millions. So that really taught me that. And then after that, when I left that position and I went to become operations director for an online fitness service company, that was the first time I had a team that I had to manage, because I was the operations director. Underneath me was probably 12 people.
Got it.
And I went from managing no one to 12, and they were all over the world. We were fully remote workers. We were in 12 different time zones. And I was like, how the heck do I do the same thing? Screwed up a lot, learned a lot. So now I've had about, 10 years of being in management positions when it relates to how do we make things run smoothly. So definitely learned a lot from that. And I was like, if I had only known how to do that, how much change could I have impacted in the company so much sooner? Yeah. How could I have made it a better working environment for the people that I worked with and under and for? And I was like, that's where I really want to help people now, because again, they don't teach you how to be a manager. They don't teach you how to run a business. They don't teach you how to hire, fire, have hard conversations about performance, or how to figure even who do I hire. Nobody teaches you these things. I had to do it through a lot of trial and error. So it comes back to cutting down that learning curve.
Yep.
I know this stuff. I'm going to share it with you and help you figure out how to do it your way.
I love it. This
so
is
you don't have to do this.
I'm so glad that I've gotten in the gold vein of really cool entrepreneurs who are out there for that reason. There's a great question from my friend Philip Zabe, who's a photographer in Canada. I don't know if you know Philip, but he's an amazing photographer. His question is, what are the first few things that you find the average entrepreneur offloads? Maybe I'd add should offload. And or is it always kind of case by case? Great question, Philip. Hi, how are you?
Ooh, hello, Philip. I'd say for online service-based entrepreneurs, who's pretty much what I work with, generally, the first feeling that people have is I need to hire a VA or a virtual assistant to help me with administrative tasks. And those can be calendars, helping with emails, sending contracts and invoices to clients, scheduling my posts for social media, those sending things to clients, following up with people, and helping kind of manage the business owner's time a little bit. I'll say
perfect.
Eight times out of 10, the people that I've worked with or the entrepreneurs that I've been around, that's usually what they go through first. Because again, the business owner's skill set is in the public facing showing up area, because they're not a brand that can just say, I'm Apple, buy. And people are like, of course I will. Like, you have to show up. So I would say generally, those are probably the first tasks for online service-based entrepreneurs. And because you want to free up more time to interact with people and interact with sales. It's not 100% of the time, all the time. Like one person I worked with, we hired them a tech person first, because her programs were pretty lead pages and click funnels and automation heavy, because it was a service-based business, but they sold entrepreneur products.
Gotcha.
And like that doesn't require as much back and forth with clients, but she needed to build her Kajabi. She needed to build her ClickFunnels. So for her, we actually hired a tech, I guess it's like a tech VA first, but it was very much technology.
That is a great question, Philip. I know to Nikki's point, that's the first thing I hired, was somebody to just help take the calendaring, the management of that off my hands, and the relief you get. That's kind of like the gateway drug, because then you start to learn, so I'm doing this other thing. Maybe I kind of like it. Maybe I don't. But one of the things I did was I went through a time study. Again, Alex Sharpen, thank you. And really paid attention to where I was spending my time. And not only did I do his sort of evaluation of is it strategic? Is it tactical? Is it personal? Is it fitness kind of thing? But I went through and said, do I like it? And am I the only one who can do it? And if something was something I didn't like, and I'm not the only one that can do it, that went to the top of my list. Something was, I like it, but somebody else can do it. It's like, okay, I'm going to give that away. And if something was, nobody else can do it, whether I liked it or not, I kept it. There are so few of those things. And I thought arrogantly, there's going to be so much that I'm the only one that can do it. Because, I'm me. And the more, once you kind of get into the habit of really challenging that, the answer becomes less and less of what you're the only one who can do. So, and I know I sure as heck could have used a coach on that when I started. I would be so far ahead of where I am now.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Our mutual friend, Avalon Starlight, she has a saying where she says, awareness is the open book to easy.
Ooh, I like
because when you have an awareness of something, when you have some perspective, when you take yourself kind of like, we pick you up and we put you over here so you can kind of like look down at your business. Because when you're in the day-to-day and you're stressed out, you can't see the forest for the trees, whatever metaphor you want to use. It's totally true. Everything can seem very overwhelming, but there's a lot of things that you can do to kind of take yourself out of that for at least a moment, like a time study, for example, to be able to kind of have this awareness. Of how am I actually spending my time? What do I love doing? What is energizing? What is my zone of genius, my zone of competence, my zone of, I can't freaking do that.
Yes.
How can you look at these things? So I've always I loved it when she said that to me when I was learning with her actually. And she was relating it much more to like internal mindset and patterning and trauma and all these things. And I was like, it works for business, that once you have an awareness of something, then you can know what to do with it. Or, I kind of call it when you're juggling, you have so many things that you're juggling and you assume they all have to be juggled at that particular time and place and in that particular way. But if you had an awareness to it, you can kind of like Marie Kondo them up and go, oh, this one doesn't have to be juggled for 2 more weeks. I'm going to go put that down and deal with it later. I don't need to juggle this one at all. Fantastic. My partner's going to juggle that one. So it really kind of helps you start to categorize and relieve a lot of like false sense of urgency. I think that a lot of online entrepreneurs feel that like, I have to do this right now.
That's such a good tagline for you, because that is the feeling. And it's not only, we can often paralyze ourselves because we get this list of stuff we have to do right now. And then it's like, which one do I do first? And then it's like, shit, I'm just going to stream Netflix because I don't know. And so that's kind of the really cool thing about the spot that you fill, because it is a gateway drug, because once you start to realize, okay, I can let go of this stuff. I should have added a third category, and I may do it next time, is, am I the best person to do this? So do I like it? Am I the only one that can do it? And am I the best person to do this? And there are so many things we're not the best person to do. But then you have to deal with the entrepreneur who says, but I'm losing control of my business. How do you help them?
It's interesting. It's really interesting because like as much as my brain is like strategic, tactical, like I can process things and do things. I realize that's not everybody, and you kind of have to deal with things like, all right, well, where is this coming from? What would it look like if you didn't have to be involved in that? What would it look like to just have complete peace of mind about that particular thing?
Oh, I love that.
And then we look to find is a who, a what, or a thing that can help you achieve that peace of mind. And yes, it's going to take practice, but especially if it's going to come in the form of a team member. Let's say, for example, that you don't want to do your social media anymore. I only do maybe 90% of my Instagram content. I have an amazing team of people who do the graphics, who do the captions, that I work with we do ideas back and forth. They write it. I get it when it's 90%. I zhuzh it a bit, add a little bit of me into it. They take care of the scheduling, the posting, all of the things. I don't have to worry about it. So I have complete peace of mind about that. So what I essentially had to say to this person is I really knew what the outcomes I were seeking were. I want to be present on Instagram consistently. I want copy that demonstrates who I am, what I'm good at, shares my personality, and I want to create really easy pathways for people to understand how to work with me. So
dog on Instagram.
And my dog must be on Instagram. So, but Katie, who does my social media, how can we do that? And she walked me through her process, step by step, of how she works with clients. And I was like,
stop you right there, because that's key. She walked you through her process, and that's okay.
Yes, it is preferable. I didn't have to come up with it. She's got all her people on her team that do all these things. I walked through it so that I felt safe. So in this process, you want to create this sense of safety and security that I know how things are dealt with. And then she trained me on her process and I went through it. And I said to her, I just want to have final say before things go live.
Yep.
That's the only thing I want. And I, we meet monthly to say, these are the types of things I want to communicate this month.
Give her a schedule or whatever.
Yeah. Like I said, I met with her 2 days ago to talk about my July content. And I said, I really want to focus on VIP and strategy and coaching days. I want to do in September, maybe launch of a group program. I'm still noodling on that. And I want to do more teaching content. So I want to do a lot more content that is me specifically telling people, here's how to do this step by step. Here's how to do this. So she's like, fantastic. Let's brainstorm a bunch of ideas. We dropped them down. We kind of talked through things because that's how my brain works. I like to talk through and collaborate on things. Yep. And then she's going to take it and run.
I tell you what, when I see that teaching content, we're going to share it all over the place in this Profit Concierge group, because it's really golden. I think many of us hit this spot. So this has been like, I've already kept you longer than I promised I would, because this is just gold. And I think it's so, so important. You need to decide what our business is. Do we want it to be the business it is today? And that's totally cool, because there are a lot of businesses meant to be there, and there's a lot of value those add. And if that's your business, great. If you're a person who wants to do a different kind of business that's scaled, there are a set of things you're going to go through. And Nikki and what she does can really expedite that whole first part of the learning curve so that you don't have to make all the same mistakes that so many of us made. And I just think that's awesome. If you could give our entrepreneurs wanting to migrate from kind of the one-on-one to many-on-one, or really starting to scale, one thing they could do still this week. So there's still the last half of Thursday and Friday. What's one thing everybody could do this week, whether they're watching live or on replay, and drop that in here for us in the comments. Drop whether you're watching live and on replay, and drop any questions you have for Nikki, because I know she'll come back in here and answer them for us.
I will.
What's one thing you would tell me to do for the rest of this week that would change my game?
I'd say it's one thing. It's a two-part process. One, get super clear on what your outcomes are. What is the ideal state? Where do I actually want to go with this? What do I want it to be, look, do, feel like? And when you have that, co-create it with someone. Because I'm going to make an assumption, a lot of what you come up with, you might not know how to do. But if you can connect with the right person, then they'll be able to kind of co-create that with you, because you know the outcome, you know the vision, you know the why. that's all they need to then use their own zone of genius to help you get there.
I love it. Take the step. Take the step. It's so worth involving other people. I know that you and I had another call this week where we were on with 2 other friends, and just that time together with other people, whether it's on your business topic or not, you're going to walk away enlightened. You're going to walk away with an idea. There's never a wasted Zoom interaction. There's never a wasted personal interaction. And I just love that. So number 1, folks, get super clear on what your personal outcome is for your business. What are you doing in the ideal world? And then number 2, take the time to co-create it with someone. And by the way, lucky you, guess who's taking strategy calls and would be someone you could chat with about it. So
this one.
Thank you so much for making that available to everybody who's watching. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm excited. Like, yeah, I don't know if y'all can tell, I get a little fired up about this kind of stuff, because for me, this is super fun. This is where I want to play. This is how I get, this is how I spark joy. Bring the condo metaphor back around. But like, I just love the idea of making shit happen in the way that you want it to happen, and not what every random Instagram and Facebook ad tells you how to make it happen.
Brilliant. That there is gold. She caters it to what you want to have happen. And I just think that's awesome. Thank you so much for all of this. This has been a huge chunk of information. I can't wait for Wen to go ahead and index this for us and chapterize it in YouTube, because people can come in and get just the pieces that are most important to them. You've been a massive resource for me and a wonderful friend. Thank you. Thank you again for jumping on with us today.
Thank you, Pam.
All right. You guys have a great Thursday, a great Friday, a great weekend. I am on vacation next week, so there will be no Facebook Lives, but Wen is running the campground. So you definitely want to check into one of the campgrounds next week, because I know they have a bunch of fun stuff in store for you. And I will miss them heartily, but I'll be thinking of you all, and I'll be back the week after that. So you guys take care and have a fantastic weekend. Bye-bye.